quite possibly one of the most classic recipes that we do at Sussex County Dog Training. We're going to be making some liver cake today. So for liver cake, you need a pack of liver, 3 eggs. I'm going to be using spelt flour to make it completely grain-free, but you can be using plain flour, coconut flour, any other flours that you feel happy, comfortable baking with. And it's a really, really simple recipe. So you're going to also need a blender. You have to use a blender for this first little bit. Make sure you make a note of the quantity of liver in your packet. So mine says 400 grams. Okay, so we've got a 50-50 ratio here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tip this beautiful thing into my food processor. Let's get everything in there, bar that piece of paper. Let's get the paper out. Lovely. And we're going to whisk this down until it's a pulp. Nice and quick. And then into there, we're going to add our 3 eggs. Same as every other recipe we do. If you want to add the shell, add the shell. You don't have to. It's a really, really quick recipe. And I can tell you it's a quick recipe because I will get this done and into the oven before my baby wakes up from her nap. So what we're looking for here is a nice smooth liquid, I suppose. Now for me, because my blender's so little, I'm going to decant this liquid into my big bowl and then I'm going to add my flour. If you've got a bigger blender, just add your flour straight into the mix and then you can blend it until it combines. I'm going to have to do this a little bit by hand, unfortunately. So I'm just going to tip this beautiful liquid into the bowl. Right, so we had 400 grams of liver, which means I need 400 grams of flour. It's that simple to remember. You are just equal parts. So 400 grams of flour in there. So again, I use spelt flour for that. Plain flour works really well. I've gotten away with using self-raising flour before. It just comes out a little bit more ballooned than a denser mix. And all I'm doing is just stirring it in. It should be a really easy mix in, if I'm honest. It's a nice wet liquid. It just had a couple of lumps of liver in there. They bake in really nicely. Dogs really like those bits when you come across them. There we go. So, really thick, sticky liver glue we've made there. That's a nice one to put on a licky mat or in a coal if your dog's still have raw eggs. Any of these pastes that we make work really nicely. Any of the bits that I'm dropping on the floor are being hoovered up by my dogs. But once you've baked it, obviously it freezes for about 4 or 5 months in the freezer. Should last you about 4 days in the fridge. There we go. So nicely spread in. As you can see, if I pop my spoon into the middle and pull it out, we're at a couple of centimetres on the spoon. I've preheated my oven to 180 degrees and that is going to give me about an hour to bake it. But it will vary depending on your oven, depending on if it's fan, if it's electric. They're all completely different. I've made some cakes that have taken almost 2 hours to cook and some that are done in 45 minutes. So do keep an eye on it. Same as any other normal cake, when a skewer comes out clean, it means it's done. So I'm going to pop it in the oven and come back and join us when it's finished. So here we have it, the finished product. It's come out really well. Actually, I'm really, really pleased with it. I've not baked liver cake with spelt flour before. I've used wholemeal flour, so this was a little bit different for me. It baked smelling a little bit like cooking Weetabix, but it was really, really good. Here you go, if you can see it. I've cut it up now, so I've cut it into small pieces. It's got a really good texture, so it's still slightly squishy, but not gooey. It breaks apart. Your nose is always in these. It breaks apart. It's not particularly crumbly. It's a really nicely handled treat. Sit, good boy. And it's got all of this lovely sort of crust to it, so it's got a nice sort of bit of chew, but can be broken easily and used as fantastic treats for puppies and for adult dogs. What I basically say is fridge, it must be kept in the fridge because it was made with a meat product, so you must keep it in the fridge. It will last you about 4 or 5 days. This is half of what I made. There's loads of it. I mean, I have 5 dogs, so I will go through it really quickly. But this is half of what I made. This is going to stay in the fridge. The other half has been cut, boxed, and has gone in the freezer. That's going to last me about 4 months. And I can just take it out, let it defrost. It'll come out exactly like this. So it's a really versatile treat. It's one of our basic favourites. And like I said, use any different livers, any different flours, as long as you're doing the 50-50 ratio, you can't lose. So I'd love to see what you come up with. Different mixes of flours, thank you. Different mixes of flours, let me know how you get on. As usual, we'd love to see pictures and we'd love to hear recipe ideas. We'll do another one again soon.